Hi guys, welcome back to Astrophotography Quest. In today's live stream, I'm going to be answering your astrophotography questions along with some questions I put on a Google Doc. Alright, let's start answering the questions now. I enjoy doing those live streams, by the way, they're a lot of fun for me. Alright, so firstly, I'm actually going to open up my camera here a little bit so I can see my face. Alright, there we go. Alright, so the first question here is what is a good way to get high resolution noise free astrophotos? So, I found out what the heck? So I found out that oftentimes with the NASA and stuff, I found out often that they actually create mosaics. What if you don't know what a mosaic is? A mosaic is basically when you add multiple astrophotography images, like you take images per night, right? So you add multiple astrophotography images, and you'll do the single stacks, keep stacking them on top of each other. And then take another night of another portion of that object, and just keep zooming really far on them. Take a ton of them, like that, like for example, if you're doing North American Nebula, zoom really close in it and take a ton of images like this. And then what you stack each frame and then combine them into a mosaic, which basically makes you have really high resolution and a lot less noise. I found out NASA does that frequently with their images. I found that out recently. It's really cool. I actually really like it. So the second question is, which are harder to photograph, galaxies or nebulae? Well, galaxies in light polluted skies are a lot harder to photograph, probably just because they're usually smaller and fainter, and plus you can't use narrowband filters with them, which that will be talked about in Q5 coming up here. Um, so galaxies are basically pretty hard in light polluted skies, not in dark skies, but in light polluted skies. If you're in light polluted skies, nebula are actually a lot easier because you can use narrowband filters to get those specific wavelengths of light. So they're a ton easier to photograph. A ton. They're just so much easier. And especially in light polluted skies. So, I mean, HA filters you don't have to use in like a dark sky or anything. I mean, it's still recommended, but you don't have to. All right, so Q3. What is the easiest approach to deep sky astrophotography? The easiest approach is probably, just a simple tripod with a DSLR and a basic lens. Now, I would recommend probably if you're doing Milky Way, get either a telephoto lens, not telephoto lens for Milky Way, but you know what I mean, like wide field Rokinon or something, 14 millimeter with a good aperture like f2.8. With telephoto lenses, those are mainly for deep sky. So we're talking deep sky here, right? Which is basically far away objects that don't consist of our Milky Way, that aren't the Milky Way. So, but they're farther, like galaxies and nebula. So, for example, a galaxy, if you wanted to take a photo of that, you would probably want to use something like, the Rokinon 135 millimeter for like Andromeda. That's an awesome lens, just with a tripod and lens. Now you have to take very short exposures, very, very short exposures, and stack a ton of them on top of each other constantly, tons of like thousands. So yeah, that's basically what you do. That's probably one of the easiest ways to approach deep sky astrophotography. Q3. Oh, we just did that one. Q4. Should I mod my DSLR by myself for astrophotography? And how much would it cost to modify it professionally? Now, I actually modded my own DSLR, my Canon EOS Rebel T7, by myself, free of charge. It was awesome. I didn't do the HA mod, didn't do the full spectrum mod, just a mono mod. Awesome results, though. Getting me so many great results. Yeah, basically really help with those wavelengths of light that you can't catch easily, like H alpha and stuff like that, the specific narrowband wavelengths. Should I? Yep. So, and then how much would it cost to modify it professionally? Well, usually I read like $350. It's just insane. Way too many dollars to mod your camera. It's just crazy. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it if you know how to do it by yourself. That is. I mean, it's fairly hard, but it's easy if you know what you're doing. Like especially if you're a techie person, really easy. Yeah, so I mean, you have to be careful around the sensor because that's the heart and soul of the whole camera. You have to be very careful around it, especially when taking it out. Don't break the glass or anything very hard. I mean, the glass, the filters that are blocking it is okay to maybe break if you're taking them out. But if don't try not your best, just be very careful not to touch the sensor because I almost got it so dirty I couldn't clean it off. But luckily went so successfully because we had like the spray and stuff to wipe it off. But gosh, it was a difficult approach. So finally, Q5. Best way to photograph nebulae or galaxies from a light polluted sky site. Um, well, Galaxies are, as I said, galaxies actually would be better using an Optolong L Pro, like something like the Optolong L Pro, the light pollution filter, especially in a light polluted sky, as we're talking about here. So galaxies are much easier with the light pollution filters because you take longer exposures, collect more detail, as you know. Nebulae, on the other hand, you need to use narrowband filters because Optolong L Pro will not work well with a nebula. So you would want to use something like a narrowband filter. So something like the astronomic 6 nanometer H alpha. That was my personal favorite filter that I have. Now, keep in mind when you do this, you're going to have to be very careful about focusing your stars because it's really hard to see the stars through the live view, like really hard, especially with like the 6 nanometer. With 12 nanometer, not so much. So yeah. So that's basically what that is. So, yep. And that's basically all the questions I have for this. And yeah, so that's basically it, guys. That's basically what I have here. So, if you guys didn't know, I am doing an event with Nico Carver from Nebula Photos, Astro Joe from Astro Adventures, and Eric J. Brown from I don't know his channel name exactly, but we're going to be doing an Astro event photographing the North American Nebula. It's going to be awesome, so make sure to check it out coming July 31st. Anyways, until next time, clear skies.